Hello, welcome to my podcast, She Who Remembers. I am your host, Antonia Bova. So happy to have you here. Bear with me with the lighting, the background, the noise, the voice. I'm just starting, and I am letting go of perfectionism, and we are just showing up. And I think it's so much more important just to start the thing and to get your voice out there, get the content out there, because we have people to heal. We have lessons to teach. And so here we are in our raw form. I wanted to create this episode as more of an introductory episode for you guys to get to know what this podcast is about, what you can expect, and then who I am. Who is Antonia? What am I doing here? So I used to have a podcast called Being Human. And Being Human was very much about spiritual practices, but I went very in depth into them, and they were long format podcasts. And so with She Who Remembers, I want them to be a bit more condensed, a bit more bite-sized. So if you're running an errand, or you're going on a short drive, or you're just going for a quick workout, you can just plug me in, listen to the knowledge, soak it in, let it plant the seeds and activate you, and then we can continue on and build on those things as the podcast progresses. I'm finding, obviously, as social media is growing and AI is coming out, our attention spans are starting to shrink down a little bit. So in terms of podcasts, I really just want to give you guys the knowledge straight away so that you guys can start putting things into practice and really awaken yourselves. So that's exactly what this podcast is going to be. It's going to be different tools, resources, modalities, and things to give you the tools to equip yourself to handle tough things, trials and tribulations of life, how to get out of being unstuck, how to set boundaries. I mean, everything when it comes to knowing yourself and then getting what you desire most out of life, to live a full life with enlightenment, happiness, all of those great things. So that's a bit about what the podcast is going to be about. And then I'll also have my YouTube page, which is The House of Antonia. That's under my Instagram. I'll have local events here in Arizona through Eventbrite. And that will be more meditations, sound healings, things that you can really play and follow along. Those will be a little bit longer. And those will be the nice sessions that you can go into when you have time and space set aside for those mindful practices. So then a little bit about me. I was born and raised in Stamford, Connecticut. So I'm a little Northeast baby. I'm a middle child, have an older brother and younger sister. And so I grew up in a really big family. We had a lot of traditions, like our Sunday pasta while watching football, a lot of holiday traditions. We were always around family, which was really beautiful to grow up around. I grew up in the Catholic Church. I went to actually Catholic high school, which is crazy looking back now. And then I went off to college, as every child says that they should. And I have a degree in culinary arts and food service management for my bachelor's. And I concentrated in wine and beverage. I then went off to New York City. I started working a full-time job in the restaurant and said, this is not for me. And so I ended up going into sales, still selling wine. And I did that for a very long time. I was in the industry for 8 years. I ended up going from wine to spirits to then selling Red Bull. And sales was a lot of fun. It was very beautiful being on both the off-premise and the on-premise. I got a lot of exposure, met a lot of incredible people, and I was working in Miami as basically a, what was it called? Local on-premise manager. Wow, I'm already forgetting. I was the LOPM, the local manager, down in South Beach. And I loved Miami. Like, my Miami chapter was beautiful. It was probably the healthiest I'd ever been. I was sober. I was celibate. I was just I was getting my yoga teacher certification. Moving to Miami, you just would not think. But I was already so entranced by what I knew I really wanted. But I was still following kind of the societal norms of get the good corporate job and have the 401k and the benefits and make the money. And so I was doing all of those things, and I just was very unfulfilled. And I just kept asking myself, is this it? I'm not very happy, and Red Bull is such a company of nightlife and being out and hosting. And I do think that that has its expiration date. I'm now 29 years old, and it's like I I want more from life, and I'm not finding joy, happiness, or enlightenment in the club or surrounded by alcohol. So it was definitely a huge wake up call. I ended up quitting corporate without a job and moving back from Miami to St. Petersburg. And so St. Petersburg is where I had started my Florida chapter, and it's like where home was. And so I went back there and I just took like a hiatus. I just basically didn't work for a year. And I was doing like little one off brand promo jobs. And then that's when I met an amazing woman named Ivy, who is my best friend. I love her so much. And we ended up really like hitting it off, and we were like going on all these adventures, and we decided we wanted to go travel the world. So we were looking into all these different countries and started selling our things. And then she ended up meeting literally like love of her life, her husband. We love you, Josh. And that was that. So I was like, okay, we're not going to travel the world anymore. Like, I'm just going to go to Thailand and peace out. And then we had gone to Orlando to see her family. And she was about to ship off to Hawaii to go meet her partner in person for the first time. And we had ended up stumbling upon a psychic shop. And it was called Spirals. We were looking for a bookstore, but it ended up being a metaphysical shop. And our whole thing is spirals. So we were like, we have to go here. And we ended up going to this shop, and there's a psychic medium there. And I had been in a mediumship course at the... Oh, I had not. I was practicing on my own. I'm sorry. I was practicing mediumship on my own at the time. And I was like, I need to go speak to this woman. Like, I need to tell her this is my life's purpose to do mediumship. I was doing hospice work, very into like death and transitioning and speaking to the other side. It's like a huge draw for me. So spoke to her, and I had just quit real estate too at the time. I've worn a lot of hats, people. I've tried every job under the sun. So, but we'll get into that later. And she told me, very good that you left real estate, but you can't go to Thailand. You need to go to Arizona. And she would not stop bringing it up. She's like, you need to go. You need to go. There's something for you out there. And I was like, okay. She's like, I don't know what. She said, I know that you have a mentor that's out there for you that you need to meet. And then there's going to be 2 women that you're going to end up hosting and leading retreats with. And you're probably going to end up doing like readings out of a metaphysical shop. And so I really go and sell everything I own and pack up everything that fits in my SUV. And I moved across the country to Arizona. And I'm here now. It was a rocky start. I got to Arizona after 2 days. It was a 3-day drive, 2 nights. And it was dead summer, August 1st, and my place had no AC. So my 2 cats were like in the sink, letting me like pour water on them because they were so hot. So, I think sometimes when you take a big leap and a big jump, you think, oh, everything's just going to work out because I'm taking this big risk. Well, like, no, there's still lessons in everything. And so I kept asking myself and really using my intuition, like, is this a test of my patience and of just like sticking it through, or is this like redirection? And so after a few days, I was like, this is definitely redirection. Like, I'm absolutely not supposed to be here. And so there were a few signs, and now looking back, I'm like, I should have known sooner, but that's the whole point. Like, I went through that lesson for a reason and stumbled into where I'm living now, which is just the most spiritual, warm, homey place I could have ever have asked for. So blessings. But I'm here now, and already since I've been here, I've met an incredible community, and I've connected with so many people who have really held up the mirror for me to look at my own life and really ask myself what it is that I'm doing. And I ended up finding my mentor quick. It was crazy. And I just actually started my mysticism school with him this evening. So that was a really beautiful class to go through, and we're going to be together for the next 6 months. And I know it's going to be incredibly transformational, and it will allow me to show up better for all of you and show up better for myself as well. So I'm excited for that. And essentially, I've tried everything job-wise. I've been a coach, I've been a yoga teacher, I've been a realtor, I've been a sales manager, I've been in the restaurant, hostess, server, every job in the restaurant ever. I almost went down the medical sales rep route, so I did like a working interview with them. Just the most random jobs. Yogurt shops, coffee shops, you name it, I've done it all. And when I was really like, when I had left corporate and knew that I needed to start my own business and do my own thing, my ego was so attached to like having the safety net and having the structure and making the money and having a paycheck coming in. Like it couldn't fathom not having a stable income and like paying rent and doing everything. Like nothing made sense. And so it's like living in this space of non-attachment. And you're like, how? People may call you irresponsible. Nobody gets it. I'll tell you, nobody understands it. But really, I'm sitting here today and like I made it. I did it. And all of the other jobs didn't work out through that year of me just taking a hiatus for a reason, because now I'm sitting here today birthing She Who Remembers in House of Antonia. So that's just a little bit of my background, and I'm here to give you all that same feeling of like, I know that I can do it. It's just like, how do I get there? And how do I even know what I want? A lot of people, like, you're confused, you're lost, the vision's blurry, you don't quite know what you want. And so it's like, let me be the one to help kind of open the path for you. Let's remove the blockages. Let's help you connect back to yourself. Let's figure out what is distracting you. All of the limiting beliefs, all of the unlearning. How do you set boundaries? I mean, there's just a plethora of things that compile into like what keeps us stuck and what keeps us from being able to move forward and achieve this life of pure desire. And you hear people talk about it in so many different ways, but it's like, let's simplify this approach really and do the deep work together in community. So if you've made it to the end, thank you so much for being here. I will have a whole series coming out on all of these different topics, little bite-sized pieces, nothing too crazy, nothing too long, open to any and all feedback. I'm still a student. I am not the best on social media, let me tell you, but I'm happy to be here with all of you. I'm really excited to embark on this journey with all of you as well, and thank you so much. I think I'll be releasing these videos for now once every other week. And so type in the comments whatever you're really wanting to work on. Introduce yourself. I'd love to know who's tuning in. And thank you so much. Welcome to House of Antonia. And we will connect again soon.